Now we look at question number 3. A survey for most common injuries among athletes have been conducted to 135 athletes. So first you have to remember that we have 135 athletes. So it was found that 65 suffered the bone injury, 58 suffers muscle injury, 60 suffers joint injury, 25 suffer bone and muscle injury, 21 suffer muscle and joint injuries, 34 suffers joint but not bone injury, and finally 9 suffers all the 3 injuries. So question A, draw a Venn diagram to illustrate the above information. As we all know, we will start from the bottom up to the so again you have to remember that we will start the information from the bottom until to the top. So kita akan mula daripada bawah sehingga ke atas. So you have to draw a Venn diagram. So this is the answer for question A. So here is A. Draw the Venn diagram. So you need 3 circle which intersect each of the part. Kita perlukan 3 circle ni. Dia bersilang lah. So cara dia bersilang kena betul. Mungkin 2 circle kamu di atas, bawah 1 pun boleh terpulang. So here is the universal set. And then we start with bone. So bone ni saya guna B. Let's say B. Bone injury. And then suffer muscle injury. Let's say I use M for muscle. And then the joint injury. So I use J for joint injury. So next, what we have to do is we start with the bottom information. 9 suffer all the 3 injuries. So ada 9 dia pernah mengalami ketiga-tiga kecederaan. So 9 is the center. See? So sini adalah 9. So kita akan mula dari bawah. Next, 34 suffer joint but not bone injury. Mereka mengalami kecederaan joint tapi bukan bone. So this is joint. Sini joint. Tapi bukan bone. Maksudnya kawasan sini kita kena tolak lah. Bone ni kita tak nak langsung. So bone is not included. So maksudnya kawasan sini saja. Kawasan kat sini saja. Tapi disebabkan maklumat tak cukup. So kita tak dapat isi. Means that this part is 34. But because we doesn't have the enough information, kita biar dulu. Sebab maklumat tak cukup. Kawasan ni 34. Jika saya nak tulis, saya tunjuk. Kawasan ini 34. Melibatkan kawasan sini dan kawasan sini. Joint but not bone. Dia bukan bone. So bone ni kena tolak lah. Sini 34. So sebab sini dah ada maklumat, kita biar dulu. So saya padam balik. So I try to erase this part. We move to the next. 21 suffer muscle and joint injuries. Muscle and joint. Sini muscle, sini joint. So kawasan dia sinilah. Muscle and joint. Against muscle and joint. And so the kawasan the area is here. So how many? 21. So 21. Sini dah ada 9 dah. So nak calculate this part, jika nak calculate area kat sini, kita akan guna 21 minus 9. Sebab kawasan sini dah ada 9 dah. So 21 minus 9, 21 tolak 9, sepatutnya kita dapat 12. So total is 21. So ingat, kena tolak. So 21 minus 9. So sini, so lupa nak tanda. So ini dah settle. Ini dah settle. Now we move on to 25. 25 suffers bone and muscle injury. So bone and muscle. Bone and muscle. So kawasan dia sini lah. Bone and muscle. 25 suffer. So 25. Ingat, kesemua ni 25. Sini dah ada 9. Total is 25. The area here is already have 9. So what we have to do is we use 25 minus 9. So for 25 minus 9, I should have 16. Total up is 25. So sekarang, so this one is settled. Now we move back to 34 suffer joint but not bone. Kita kembali kat sini. 34 suffer joint but not bone. So sini kita tak mau. So here this part is 34. So what we're going to do is we use 34. Kawasan sini dah ada maklumat which is 12 minus 12. So the area here 34 minus 12 is 22. Total out is 34. Right? And then we move on. So this one we have to settle. Then we move on. 60 suffer joint injury. Untuk joint injury ni total dia 60. So sekarang semua dah isi dah kawasan ni saja. So nak cari kawasan ni, we will use 60. In order to find this area, we will use 60 minus let's say 9 minus 12 minus 22. 9, 12 and 22. 60 minus 12 minus 22 minus 9, 12 and 22. So here suppose is 17. Next we move on. 58. 58 suffer muscle injury. So muscle injury total is 58. Kawasan sini dah ada number dah. We already have numbers here. So in order to find this area, we going to use 58 minus 16 minus 9 minus 12. So kita akan guna 58 tolak 16 tolak 9 tolak 12. So what we have here is 21. Apa yang tinggal kat sini? 21. Finally, 65 suffer bone injury. So here is bone. 65 suffer bone injury. So this part, 65 minus 16 minus 9 minus 17. Sekali lagi, total 65. Minus 16 minus 9 minus 17. So here we have is 23. So ini cara kita calculate. This is how we're going to calculate. But remember, let's say I try to erase the calculation. So remember, you can look back the video again and again. So I will erase the calculation. So you can look back one by one. Like that. So something went wrong. Let's say I clear out the calculation. So saya padam semua calculation. Ini yang tinggal. Jangan lupa, we have the last part, which is the value out in the universal set. So kita ada satu lagi, di mana adalah nilai di luar sini. So macam mana kita nak buat? So again, just now we have 135 atlet. Kesemua dia ada 135. Tak semestinya semua ada kecederaan. Mungkin ada yang atlet yang tak pernah cedera. So we need to calculate. Macam mana kita nak calculate? So let's say I do the calculation here. Jumlah ada 135. So the total of athlete we have 135. Maybe some of them are not suffering any of the injury. Tak pernah langsung. So what we have to do is 135 minus all the value inside the circle. Means that 20, let's say, start with 23 minus 16 minus 9 minus 17 minus 21 minus 12 minus 22. So 135 minus 23 minus 16 minus 9 minus 17 minus 21 minus 12 and minus 22. So we have 15 player. Kita ada 15 player di mana dia tak pernah cedera langsung. Apa-apa pula, bone, muscle or joint. So mungkin dia cedera lain cuma tak ada dalam data sini. So kebanyakan pelajar lupa calculate kawasan ni. So this area, kawasan ni mungkin kosong. This area can be 0. Mungkin semua dah pernah suffer. So kemungkinan ada nilai. So jangan lupa untuk calculate this area. So don't forget to calculate this area because most of the student tends to forget to calculate this area. So now we can start to answer the question. So kita boleh jawab soalan. Let's say, okay. So this is the answer for A lah, the Venn diagram. Next, we look at find the number of athletes who did not suffer any of this injury. So we already have the calculation. So you can rewrite the calculation if you want. Jika you nak tulis balik calculation. So for question number B, maybe you can use the total of athletes is 135. So the total of athletes is 135 minus 23 minus 16 minus 9 minus 17 minus 21 minus 12 minus 22. So the answer is 15. So this is the answer for question B. So here is 16. Next, we look at question C. Find the number of athletes who suffer bone and joint but not muscle injury. Bone and joint but not muscle. So muscle, bone dan joint. Tapi bukan muscle. So muscle punya kawasan sini. So this is the area of the muscle. You have to minus. No, not you have to minus. You don't need to calculate this area. So kita tak akan kira kawasan ni. Against bone and joint but not muscle. So sini tak boleh masuk lah. Kawasan sini. So means that is 23 plus 17 plus 22. Maksudnya 23 tambah 17 tambah 22. So 23 plus 17 plus 22. Lebih baik you tunjuk pengiraan dia. So nanti ada markah pengiraan, you dapatlah 23 plus 17 plus 22. Ingat, you have to show the calculation. So lebih baik you tunjuk pengiraan dia. And then D. Find the number of athletes who suffer at least 2 injury. Sekurang-kurangnya 2 injury. So maksudnya sini 23. Jika 23 ni maksudnya dia suffer bone saja. 21 ni dia suffer muscle saja. 22 ni dia suffer joint saja. At least 2 maksudnya sekurang-kurangnya 2. Maksudnya kawasan sini lah. 2. Ini suffer bone and muscle. This one suffer muscle and joint. This one dia suffer joint and bone. Kawasan sini pula dia suffer ketiga-tiganya. Maksudnya semua kawasan sini lah. We suffer at least 2. Sekurang-kurangnya 2 kecederaan. So, finally we use 16 plus 9 plus 12 plus 17. 16 tambah 9 tambah 12 tambah 17. At least 2. Luar ni 1 saja. So, tak kira lah. At least 2 ni maksudnya 2 boleh, 3 pun boleh. So, 16 plus 9 plus 12 plus 17. 16 plus 9 plus 12 plus 17. The answer is 54. So kat sini tunjuk pengiraan kamu. And this is the answer.